How do we gain freedom from dis-ease? Hi, everyone out there. I'm Thomas, and welcome to my channel. I do mostly educational videos, subjects that you may not be familiar with, but if you were, they would have very positive effects on your life. That's the goal anyway. And in this series of videos, I've been focusing on the tree of life. This is an ancient diagram that talks about among other things, our faculties of consciousness. So the tree has 10 different circles or spheres that are numbered 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's a thing here called the abyss, an applied sphere, and a 0 above the tree, for a total of 12 different faculties of consciousness. For teaching purposes, I've broken this down into a second level. So I've taken the whole tree and shrunk it down and applied it to each one of these 12 faculties of consciousness to break it down into 12 in the 10th sphere, 12 in the 9th sphere, 12 in the 8th sphere, and so on, for a total of 144 different fractal faculties, or what I refer to as stages of life. Stages are not chronological, but they are dramatic stages. So different dramas that we go through in our lives that we have to negotiate. I have compiled a list of these 144 fractal faculties, and I will send that list out to you, an annotated list, if you click the link in the description, and it will be for free. So please, click in the description, and I'll send that to you. That will help you as you watch further videos in this series, or all the videos in this series, because each one of these videos that I'm doing will be one of the 144 stages. So for example, today we're going to be doing stage 84. But before we get into that, let me just give you a quick once-over on the 12 faculties of consciousness that I'm boiling down into 144 fractal faculties. But these are the basic 12. So the 10th sphere is about our animal consciousness, our survival, wild animal consciousness, our survival, our instinct, and our fight or flight response. Then at the 9th sphere, we have our domestic, which you can also maybe think about as mammalian, but domestic consciousness, where in the first few years of our lives, we are a sponge. So we're soaking up all the influences around us, but especially from our caregivers, and we're soaking it all up, and we're memorizing their actions and imitating them. So it's a highly receptive state, but it results in imitation, blind imitation. And then at the 8th sphere, it's somewhat also about imitation, but instead of in the domestic world of the home, this is out in the so-called real world, out there in the public, at the schools and the churches, the community centers, the public square, where they offer the expert opinions and the consensus worldview, the conventional wisdom. And this is where they tell us what we're supposed to believe about life, how we're supposed to, act, and we imitate that. To the extent that we're in the 8th sphere, to get into the 8th sphere, we learn to imitate that. We learn to believe what they believe, and we rationalize it and even defend it, in spite of the fact that it may or may not be true. So the 8th sphere is about belief systems and logical reasoning, including rationalization. The seventh sphere, whereas the eighth sphere is the real world, the seventh sphere is the imaginary world. The seventh sphere is generally for when we are in the eighth sphere and we see it to be unsatisfactory. And so we look at the eighth sphere and we're like, they believe that. That doesn't quite make sense. Oh, I'm supposed to do that? That doesn't make sense to me. And so we come over here and we imagine something better. We imagine a different paradigm. We imagine a different conventional wisdom. Um, and we use things like our intuition, which is in a developing stage, and also inspiration from other people who've come before us. And then we also use our creativity, and we use our pleasure principle to basically to and our imagination, basically to come up with alternatives, which usually result in things like art, pieces of art, or songs, or prose, or poetry, or inventions that improve upon or try to improve upon what's going on here in the eighth sphere. Okay, so this is a constructive thing. We're coming up with constructive pieces of our creativity to even offer back to the eighth sphere. It's not just a critique. It's not just a put down. A put down is really you're still here in the eighth sphere. You're in the seventh fractal of the eighth sphere. It's a fake seventh sphere, more or less. But here you're actually coming up with some kind of alternatives. And the inspiration that you get leads you to go further up the tree to the sixth sphere to start with, where this is our free will faculty. This is where we're located here, if anywhere. And this is our free will faculty, our ability to pay attention and to make decisions. Unfortunately, our attention is generally directed downward in the tree to our conditionings, our attachments, the status quo, and our preservation. So we tend to pay attention down the tree, and here at the free will stage, our free will is our ability to make a decision to turn around our attention and to focus our attention on the higher aspects of our lives, the spiritual aspects and the divine aspects of our lives. This requires a certain amount of courage to be able to face our fears, because when we do turn ourselves around, we find ourselves kind of staring into the void, into real time, where this is kind of like a rehearsal. This is already known. We already kind of know how to do this. And so it's easy to direct our attention here. It's comfortable. But when we turn ourselves around, it puts us into an uncomfortable state because these are not well developed within us. And so we have to be able to kind of pay attention up here as we're developing these skills, as we're developing these faculties. So it does require that we stand in the face of fear and kind of wait it out until the reinforcements of the higher faculties show up. So the fifth and fourth sphere more or less work together. The fourth sphere is like the natural law, so how things interact with one another, how they relate with one another, what their form and function is. It's an observation, an investigation of how these things actually work. And then the fifth sphere is the enforcement of that law. So the enforcement of the law is generally known as karma, which more or less operates upon violence and waste and violation. and gives us feedback that, so if we act here, there's like a mirror here, and it comes right back to us. Um, you know, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. As you sow, so shall you reap. And so we get feedback on our actions. So even if we are doing things that are creating violence and waste, we know about it. We get to know about it, and we can change our behavior that way. Okay, so the five and four are the, how the law functions, the natural law. This is the law of observation, investigation, experimentation, experience, not a decree or a commandment or a code, which is what the eighth sphere is giving you. They just decree it. Okay, it's against the law to do this. They don't give you any reason, or anything. It's just, this is what you believe. This is what we believe. Here's your 10 commandments. I'm dropping a stone in front of you. Here they are. And, some of them are useful. And in many cases, they're, almost always right. But they don't always work out. And so this is really when you're dealing with like a case by case basis, where everything is fits into the natural law. Okay, then the abyss here is the our psychic powers. This is our ability to recognize omens or synchronicities or coincidences in our lives, and how they are guiding us toward things that are important in our lives. So if we keep seeing recurring letters or numbers or words in our lives, that's something that we should be tuning into and trying to figure out the message. So that is our psychic receptivity. That's the first part of the abyss. The second part is our psychic heat, which is our ability to actually act upon those omens. So that's another thing here, just like the sixth sphere, that it requires a good deal of courage to act upon the omen, because acting upon the omen, usually the omen will prescribe the course of action, but the question is, will you be able to actually do it? Because it requires you to put yourself out there. You might require you to do something that makes you look foolish, or draw attention to yourself. Put yourself out there. And so you have to kind of really believe in the omen and believe in the whole idea that the omen is important to be able to act upon it. Okay, then 3, 2, and 1 are our divine faculties within. Omnipotence, all powerful, tapped into through sound synchronization. So this is a sound thing, whereas this is a vision thing or a light thing. And this is the second sphere, which is omniscience, all-knowing, or wisdom, your ability to solve problems. And then we tap into that through basically turning off the thinking, the verbal thinking process, and tuning into, the visions, in our mind, which is, part of the imagination, the development of imagination, and also of intuition. So this is basically intuiting how to avoid problems. But that can only really happen through shutting off our minds, shutting off our monkey minds. Then the first sphere is omnipresence, all present, all at once, eternally. And this is really kind of like the old physicist's ether, where it's something that underlies the whole universe. So when we go to our deepest center, we get to that one. And that one at our deepest center is exactly the same as the one at the deepest center of everything else. So it unifies all things. They're all at the core are the same. Okay, then the 0 above the tree is kind of like if the 1 is the surface of the creator, the 0 is the interior of the creator. So we only can see the surface. What's underneath the surface is a mystery to us, and it's not directly perceivable. We might be able to tap into it through intuition, but that is a longer process. But it's so this is something that the creator reserves for itself, or the private life of the creator. It's a mystery and it's a nothingness. Okay, so that is how we parse out the tree in a 10-minute description. Again, another note on the tree is, people spend their whole lives studying the tree. So, I could probably lecture for 24 hours on the tree. So, when I do these kind of short descriptions, I try to make them. It can be repetitive, but that's really how you learn it, is through repetition and memorizing the diagram and memorizing a little bit about each sphere. And then you can use it yourself to apply your own experience, your own life experiences to it. And so I try to vary the descriptions a little bit, make each one a little bit different than the one before. But it's important to hear it over and over again, because that's really how you're going to learn it. And again, you can it has it, and that's why I fractalize it. That's why I break it down to another level, is because it has endless levels. You can break it down to another level and another level and another level, and keep multiplying by 12, because it's something of limitless depth. Okay, now, again, the question for today was, how do we gain freedom from dis-ease? And that is fractal, or stage number 84. Free will, fear won't. Fearless free. Stage number 84 is about transcending fear by exerting free will. Free will and the end of fear won't. All free will includes a hill, a killer hill. So you must go against the grain of the mill to exercise free will. The study of natural law is the unbeaten path. Censored from our lives, but at intersections in the timelines, destiny can be changed by a free will choice. Encounters that offer an alternate path. Our study of natural law will teach us that the best ways to get free are sun on the skin, in the eyes, clean air in the lungs, a living water infusion, and an active body. Divinity, or spirit, enters man through the breath. Breath is spirit. Oxygen is life. Oxygen therapies restore life. Breathing was a science long, long ago. Long, long before our sick Western medicine. While Westerners lived in their caves, way before Westerners and their widgets, before sunglasses and sunscreens, before reverse osmosis and chlorine, before air filters and vapor machines, before the birth of R&D, before the founding of the Royal Society, even before the oath of Hippocrates, long, long before, breathing was a science. Deeper breathing results in clearer, deeper thinking, or even none at all. Oxygen is also contained in water, living water, in the fountains of youth, Eskimoto, Schauberger, an infusion of living water through fresh, raw, ripe fruits and vegetables, distilled. A slow process that will still give us freedom from all disease. The fountain of youth comes from fruit. Fruit is the fountain of youth. Water of youth, living water of youth. Just fruit and vegetables, mostly fruit, and almost no fat. Breath and sunlight and exercise. All else is superfluous and harmful for our ape-like body. The fruit will give us the energy we need to exercise, but we must have the understanding and the discipline to follow these natural laws. It is all so free and simple. It is natural to always be healthy. A healthy body automatically defends itself against infection. Diseases are not diseases at all. They are only symptoms of the one disease, toxemia, a poisoned, deoxygenated bloodstream. If the body is provided with the correct proportions of natural food, together with rest, sunshine, fresh air, and exercise, then we will be free of the one and only disease. So study the natural law, use our free will to implement the law, and then set aside our fear. Because fear won't. Our freedom is ensured by immune health, the ultimate form of wealth and success. Health and wealth being. Alrighty, that is stage number 84. Free will, fear won't. Fearless free. And that is, as I forgot to mention, or maybe I was trying to get you guys to play the game where you guess where this comes from, but that is the zero fractal of the force sphere. So force sphere is about the natural law. It's about the all the observations and investigations, the cosmologies. It's about the ultimate in success and wealth. And it is also the zero fractal of the force sphere, which is the nothingness and the mystery of everything. So that is where we have this fractal, number 84, zero fractal of the force sphere. Okay, so if you made it all the way to the end, please click the like button, and you can share and subscribe. Share the video and subscribe to the channel. You can see my Cash App and Venmo in there if you'd like to donate to further videos. And I will be back tomorrow with another. And please have until then, please have a beautiful day.